Starting tomorrow, Texas will no longer require people to wear masks. It's a move health experts warn is premature. Texas is still seeing about 5,500 cases across the state every day. That's down nearly 30% in the past week and 75% since the state's peak back in January. The Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo is with us now. Chief, thank you. Do your officers still have to wear masks once the mandate's lifted? And what's your level of concern?
Well, the answer is yes, they do. They have to continue to wear masks to protect themselves and protect the public they come in contact with. And they're going to continue to do that until we all get our vaccines, not just in law enforcement, but across the country, hopefully by May. But, opening up the state is one thing, but not requiring masks in a state where we still have so many people getting the virus is going to be problematic. And in this state, they have property rights. So a lot of businesses are going to follow the science, require masks. And we know that that's going to create some conflict. And the cops are going to be brought into the middle of those conflicts to have to deal with people that are recalcitrant and that think this is too much of a lift for them to keep their fellow Texans safe.
I was just about to ask you about that, because we know that wearing the mask is never primarily about us. It's primarily about everybody else. So if I'm in the grocery store line and I don't wear a mask, that puts the grocery store clerk in potential real jeopardy. So what do you tell your officers? Should a business owner call and say, we got yahoos in here who won't wear their mask, come help us? How are the cops going to handle that?
Well, we've been telling the business community that we don't want their employees to end up getting into arguments and physical altercations, because we've had people hurt. There's been people shot across the country. One police officer was murdered trying to enforce these rules. Our officers are well versed on the laws. There's something called criminal trespass here in the state of Texas. And if a business asks an individual to wear the mask and they refuse to leave, they can be arrested for criminal trespass. And in addition to that, can get a criminal trespass warning that will prohibit them from entering that establishment for at least a year. So luckily for us, most people are decent. And like I said in the tweet, this will give us an opportunity to see which one amongst us cares about others and which one of us only cares about themselves and their perceived right to get other people sick and potentially kill them.
So that I'm clear, Chief, if someone is in a line at a food store come next week, and that person's like, I am not wearing this mask, just call the cops. That person may actually get arrested. And what would happen to that person? Do you go to jail? Do you pay a fine? What's the deal?
Well, it's a misdemeanor in the state of Texas, and it's an offense that you can go physically into custody. Hopefully it won't get to that. But if we show up and they refuse to leave, they can be arrested for criminal trespass. And the alternative is even if they leave, but they created that much of a ruckus, they can actually, at the request of the local owner of the business, can be issued a criminal trespass warning, which means that they'll be in the system. They won't even be able to come back to that location, to that establishment without facing arrest for criminal trespassing.
You know, I hadn't thought about it like this before right now, Chief, but it's now clear that your officers who are out there fighting crime and keeping the peace now have a whole new set of things they're going to have to deal with, which just takes up more time and energy. What's your level of how upset are you that this mask mandate has been lifted and put your folks in this position?
You know, what saddens me is that we're so close to the finish line. You know, you had a brilliant doctor from Houston there before me as a guest, Dr. Holtz. And, we know by the end of May, just about every American that wants a shot will be able to get the vaccine. And why now? I think the why now is because some elected officials are more interested in their politics and their base than they are in science and in the health of their fellow Americans. And sadly, again, police officers are going to be dragged into this when we have someone's violent crime to deal with. But you know what? Businesses and people that run businesses have a right to have their rules. And I would just urge Texans or anyone dealing with this, just take your business somewhere else. But don't get yourself arrested and don't get yourself in trouble by trying to cause a ruckus. But it is going to be more work. It was unnecessary. But this is what we do in law enforcement. When a play is called, we're going to do our very best to run it to the very best of our ability.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.